Um, Review and approve minutes from October 15, 2020 regular meeting. Does anybody want to make a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Steve. Steve's got the motion. Second, anybody?
I'll second. Rob?
Rob Wurge has the second. Any changes to these minutes? Any changes?
I noticed one thing that I think is just a typo. On page 3 of 4, second paragraph, right by my name, it says R. Rooney dash do the public. I think it should say does.
Okay, so you said this was page 3,
Yep.
and it's the second paragraph?
Yeah, the first one is, coming over from the other page. Section C, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
would it be?
yeah,
And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's right in the middle of the paragraph,
Yep,
and it's spelled D-O-E.
correct. I think it was supposed to say, does the public understand?
Yeah, it's just missing an S.
Yep. That's all.
Anything else? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented, subject to changing that typo, signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? All right, this passes 6-0. Correspondence, we all received an invitation to the, is it Fire Advisory Committee? I know FAC, I think that's what it stands for.
Yeah.
No, Fire Association Committee, right?
I think it's advisory, but
Is it advisory? All right, you know what? I'll be on the safe side. Invitation to the FAC meeting, November 18, 7 p.m. with Mike Doherty, representative from the Woodstock Fire Protection Association. And then they canceled it, so they'll let us know when they reschedule. Then we got October 22 memo from Library Board, Thompson Schools Historic Medical Insurance Cost Data, 2017 to the present. Any other correspondence come in that I'm missing that we're not catching here on the agenda? Any other correspondence that anybody's aware of? All right, we'll move on to citizens' comments. Any citizen have a comment at this time? Any citizens' comments at this time? Okay, we'll move on to, is Amy here? Yep, we'll move on to Selectmen's update. First Selectman, Amy St. Onge. Amy, you there?
I'm here, Aaron.
She is. Hi, Amy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So I have a lot of great news. Well, I think it's great news. Preliminary site plans were submitted by John Gumpert, the developer for the 929 Mill project. So that's exciting. He's going to be presenting to Planning and Zoning Commission on Monday, if anybody wants to zoom in for that. The dog kennel is in the final stages of work. We were happy to secure services of pretty much all town residents. We had Kevin Duquette, who jackhammered a lot of the concrete that was breaking up, that were trip hazards. He did a fine job, and he sealed all of the concrete. He refilled it in, and he just did a great job. We had Liberty Glass that did plexiglass on the quarantine run. And we have Trudeau Electric going in tomorrow to do some electrical work. And then the final piece, we were able to get Chase Building Supply to come in and measure for a new door because the door that was there was pretty much in poor condition. And the blocks, so if you're familiar with the dog kennel, it's a concrete block building. And literally above the door frame, the blocks were not secured and were in danger of falling out. Even if they were pushed just slightly, they would have fallen on someone's head. So they're going to come in and do that work before November 30th, because we're anticipating a relaunch of the animal control program on December 1st, beginning December 1st. So we're excited about that and happy to have used all local companies. I spoke with Chuck Lee from Dam Safety at Department of Energy and Environmental Protection today. And he's been great to work with. He's been in contact with Centerville Bank. And if you remember, Centerville Bank is the bank that currently owns the North Grosvenor-Dale Pond Dam. And they are very engaged and very responsive to the needs of this site. And I am connecting them with a contact to the Providence and Worcester line because they need to have access to one side of the dam, and the only way they can access that side of the dam is via the rail line. So that's a piece that they were looking for. So they are absolutely actively engaged at correcting the problems at that site. So I'm really happy to report that. If any of you know or don't know, the Knights of Columbus was sold. Crystal Kisner is one of the owners. She is one of the proprietors of Drafters Sports Bar, which was formerly located in Dudley. So she is bringing a sports bar and event center to the Knights of Columbus. And I don't know if anybody knows the couple, but they are fine individuals. And I know that they're going to do a bang up job with the site. They're going to make it something really a first-class act. So be watching for that as they begin the renovations. And the final thing that I have to bring is the town meeting is scheduled for this coming Tuesday. It's going to be a hybrid meeting, utilizing both live attendance and Zoom features. And I can't say enough about how grateful I am to the school, to Melinda for allowing us to use the auditorium for the town meeting. The IT department has been phenomenal. And I know Bill Birch was there today, sectioning off parts of the auditorium to make everything safe for us to meet in person, and have up to 100 live attendees for that night. It's not a really meaty town meeting, so I don't anticipate large numbers, but it'll be good that people will be able to still Zoom in, or if they feel comfortable, attend in person. So again, shout out to the school. It's been great working with everybody there. Tracy and Bryce from the IT department are phenomenal to work with. And it's been absolutely a pleasure, and I'm very thankful to them. And that's all I have.
Questions for the first selectman?
I would just suggest that from myself, and I suspect everybody else on the board, thank you to those who helped make the animal dog pound viable. That sounds like a lot of help there. That's great.
Yeah.
Anybody else? So Amy, this town hall meeting is going to be both in person and live stream?
Correct.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
And
Go ahead.
And just so that everybody understands the format, so if you decide to Zoom in, we're going to utilize a polling feature. So every time a motion is made based on what the legal notice states, there'll be a question that's put out to the Zoom audience, and they'll be able to vote yes or no.
What was the date of that meeting?
It's this coming Tuesday, the 24th
Okay,
of November.
Oh, got it. So it's 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Yes. The reason we did that was because at the time, well, and the school will be reopened, we wanted to give adequate time for sanitizing. And since that fell on the day before the kids or the day that the kids let out for Thanksgiving break, it would give the school time to sanitize everything.
Yeah. Melinda, thank you to you and your team for everything that you're doing to make that possible. I really appreciate it.
We really couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. Any other questions for the first selectman? All right, well then we'll move into the school district update from Melinda.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Amy. I think our tech team really enjoys working with the town, and I know you're working on the project to make the Town Hall a hotspot for the community, and they're working with you on that project and really are enjoying a different aspect of their work. So it's nice to do. Right now, we are holding steady on the same enrollment numbers we had last month. We have 958 students. When we started the school year, we had 290 students distant learning. We're down to 200 students that are currently enrolled as a distant learning student. That means they're home receiving instruction from the teacher in the classroom. So teachers are teaching to a distant learning group at home and with students in front of them. Unfortunately, though, our good run on being able to be in school full time has come to a little bit of a bump in the road. Last week, we had one positive case of a student at Turtle Up Memorial High School. And this week, we had 2 additional positive cases of COVID at the high school, which impacted the middle school because of a shared bus. So right now, our high school students and our middle school students are home learning remotely until Monday, November 30th. We're keeping our fingers crossed that this window of time will settle down the cases, and we'll be able to bring our students from the middle and the high school back to school on that date. Mary R. Fisher continues to be in person 5 days a week. And doing well. It's a little eerie in the school building. You walk through the middle and high school and no one's there. And then all of a sudden you open the door and it's hopping. So, you know, we do want our students back. Last night we held a parent forum for parents to answer questions or ask questions. And my lead nurse, Shannon Grauer, and I were able to bring some solutions, take some suggestions. It was a good meeting. There was about 50 people on the meeting, and I thought it went really well. The issue that we're coming up against is contact tracing, because the last 2 cases caused my nursing staff to have to make 60 to 70 calls well into the night. So we're kind of heaving from the stress of trying to do all that contact tracing, although we're working closely with the Northeast District Department of Health, who have been phenomenal to our district. And we thank Sue Starkey, Linda Colangelo, and Janine at NDDH for everything they're doing for us. Unbudgeted COVID expenses continue to be a grave concern. We did receive a total of about $350,000, which immediately was applied to expenses that we had already expended. We are going to submit some expenses to FEMA, and all is working with us to do that. But without the support from the state or the federal government, hopefully after the first of the year, we're not going to be able to cover all the expenses that we have taken on because of COVID. Right now, everything's frozen. We're not expending any money other than essentials. We froze the budget at the end of September, anticipating that we may have some issues. The grant I spoke about last month, we did get our Alliance Grant award letter. So we are receiving $477,000. That money is geared only toward building improvements for Alliance districts. And we thought we could do more with that money than we are, but all of our final quotes came in, and we will be able to upgrade the intercom system, the telephone system, and our shop be able to add the dust collecting system that we cut out of the budget last year. But we won't be able to do the lockers or the floors that we were really hoping we could do. But the price of the telephone and intercom upgrade was just more expensive than we thought. But it's okay, because we're going to have a state-of-the-art system, and I'm really looking forward to that. The one thing I presented to the Board of Education at the last meeting was our portrait of a graduate. And I have a couple of slides if you that I can show you this evening to tell you where we're at with that project. If Amy can give me screen share, and I hope it will come up.
That would be great. Amy, you there?
Amy or Ola, I don't know who works that.
Nope. Orla.
Sorry, it's me. I was muted and I was talking and nobody could hear me. Hold on just 1 second. Let me give you, okay. Okay, you should have screen sharing ability now, Melinda. if
Can you
wanna
see
try.
this?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let me get back here. Here it is.
Yep,
And-
here it comes. Yep.
Good. Okay, so we started to embark, as you well know, about a year and a half ago now, almost 2 years, on developing a Thompson Public School portrait of a graduate. And we reached out to about over 500 stakeholders in the community to get feedback on what Thompson community feels our graduates should leave our school system with, the skills, the competencies that they need to acquire while they're in our schools. And so with that information, we ended up with a message tag for Portrait of a Graduate, that a Thompson graduate is knowledgeable, independent, and community connected. And so we solicited for a marketing company. We had some grant money, and they put together this logo that you're going to start to see everywhere. We're going to be doing a public rollout of a Portrait of a Graduate. As you can see, it's the front of our building because we want to still capture the history and the importance of the history of education in Thompson Public Schools, but yet have a modern, updated look to the future of POG. So just to take you through the history, we had a core team participate in a year-long professional development. Then we expanded that team, and then we had multiple community outreach sessions. Then we took input from our faculty and staff, and we took all of that data and we analyzed it, and we developed the POG statement that a Thompson graduate is knowledgeable, independent, and community connected. And then we started to work with the Connecticut Center for School Change, and Dr. Elizabeth Oscar, who did our coherence and capacity audit 2 years ago, was assigned to work with us. And she's helped us develop our attributes based on the data we collected from the community. And we're talking about now our high quality instruction, and we're doing a task analysis with her. But to take a look at the attributes and what it means and what the community feels it means to be knowledgeable, academically accomplished, skilled at critical thinking, adept at problem solving, financially literate, appreciative of the arts, aware of other languages and cultures, and to be independent, driven toward physical and emotional wellness, effective with communication, proficient with interpersonal interactions, organized, successful with time management, equipped with a strong work ethic, and confident, and to be community connected, anchored in the values of kindness, honesty, respect, and empathy, ready to lead authentically, service-oriented, appreciative of our local history, and civic-minded. And so from there, with all of these attributes, we need to do a complete alignment of our curriculum and our programs to match what the community expects of our graduates. And so the Portrait of a Graduate, our goals for this project is that the Portrait of a Graduate will be widely known, understood, and valued by the Thompson Public Schools and the community that we serve. The curriculum will all be aligned to that Portrait of a Graduate. The curriculum will be delivered using high quality instruction that aligns with best research and practices, and the district operations and resources will be mobilized and prioritized to create focus and support on the implementation of the Portrait of a Graduate. And that's where the members of the Board of Finance come in, because you'll start to see when we put our budget together that we're going to start to align it to the goals and attributes of the POG. And then finally, we do have a marketing plan. And our first rollout was to the Board of Ed, and we're here tonight to the Board of Finance, and we'll make an appointment and meet with the Board of Selectmen as well. And then we're going to do future outreach. A lot of mailers will be coming out. We've got some grant funding to pay for that. We have some banners being put up in the school, and we'll be holding some parent forums and really trying to get the word out as to what we're trying to do to improve our school system so that it aligns to the goals and skills and competencies that the people of Thompson would like in their graduates from their public school system. So more to come on Portrait of a Graduate, but that's a very quick overview. And I'm all done.
That's great. Questions for the superintendent?
Awesome. Just want to say, great job.
Questions, anybody? I agree. This is great. You know, kind of thinking objectively, philosophically, dispassionately, critically about what it is that you want to see graduate, what kind of person you want to see graduate from the school, and then just align the curriculum from that focal point. It's great. It's great. It's great to see.
It was great talking to the members, and I think we all felt that way, talking to the citizens of Thompson to find out, and you'll see that, you know, some of those attributes are around, you know, self-help skills and being financially literate and some really basic concepts that people felt our students were missing. And financial literacy was strong in almost every stakeholder group. So those are things that we have to figure out. How do we align that to K-12? How do we bring financial literacy activities into K-3? What does that look like compared to what we do up at the high school? So I'm very excited about putting this work together. I know the board is. It's about a transformation of the district and overall improvement.
That's great. I noticed the financial literacy that was in the knowledge pillar.
Yes.
Which is great. It's funny you mentioned, because I wanted to just let you go ahead and do your presentation, but interestingly enough, that aspect caught my eye as well. I guess it just, I don't know, it just seems like in our world we see people who, if they had just had a better grasp on financial matters, even basic financial matters, their lives would have been better off over the last, say, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, wherever they are at this point. So just infusing them with a little bit of financial literacy, and it's not to focus on something very small at the expense of everything else, but to include that little piece into the puzzle. I think it's a great idea. Obviously, you know, the details are the hard part, as you say, but any extent to which the school can do that, I think would be doing a tremendous service to the students and the seniors who graduate and go on into life.
Can I speak for a second? I just wanted to say too, I mean, I love the emotional intelligence part. And I really truly believe that one of the things that I thought was missing was just people being instilled in kids and having self-love and self-care and all that. I think it really stems back to them being able to grow as a person in every aspect of their life. Because if they had that built-in self-love, they wouldn't want to hurt themselves or others, or, you know, they would continue to strive to focus to be the best they can be, and so on and so forth. So I think it's excellent, really impressive.
Going to take us, it's usually a 3 to 5 year project to get everything lined up, but we've already started. That work is underway. So, and we get some great teacher leaders and administrators that are leading the charge. So I'm pretty excited about it.
This is great. Thank you. Any other questions? Melinda, I was going to ask about the 477,000. So that's great news.
It is.
But for the physical plant, because I remember during the budget season, there were some things that we carved away that really we were anxious about. I remember one of them was is that Public Works was looking for a truck, and it was really sorely needed, and we took it out. And I remember saying at the time, I'm really sorry, guys, this one hurts, but we got to take it out. Same thing with some of these deferred maintenance / physical plant items that were in the Board of Ed budget. I'm just so thrilled that we've been able to secure some money somewhere to address these items, because no doubt you made a very good case for them to be addressed. It was just a question of, you know, you got people on one side saying, do it. You got other people on the other side saying, don't do it. Then you got people saying, it's a year where we don't even have a town meeting. We shouldn't be raising taxes. And it's just one of these years where there were some things you cut out that just really hurt to cut out. So I'm so happy to hear that you've been able to secure some funding to address some of these items.
And, you know, being an Alliance district certainly isn't a badge of honor, right? Because you're one of the lowest performing school districts. But in this case, it did allow us to get those funds to improve our plant facilities. So we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? Thank you, Melinda. Thank you for the great work that you're doing for Thompson. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. All right, so financial report with Finance Director Ola McKiernan Raftery.
Thank you, Aaron. Let me just bring up a report here. So we're discussing reports for the first 4 months of the fiscal year. So we have collected 9.65 million in property taxes so far, which is 642,000 higher than we were this time last year. So we're getting back on track. Last year collection month was really in September. This year was in July and August. So that's looking good for the taxes. That gives us 6% higher than we were this time last year. So collections are looking good. State and grants look very similar to where we were last year. On the local revenue, we're seeing increase in certain areas, including conveyance tax, town clerks fees, and also building. As we know, there's a building boom going on in 2020, and we've seen new houses pop up all over town and renovations. Well, it's certainly you can see the effect on the dollars that have been collected for building. We're already at 59% of the year's budgeted amount of $100,000. So that gives us a total for local revenue of $375,000. Any questions before I move on to expenditures? No? Okay. So where we are with expenditures is we have committed 4.03 million. This time last year, we were at 3.1. So that's where we are on revenue. And on the balance sheet numbers, we are less cash from last month by 381,000. We're also 333,000 less than this time last year for cash. Okay, so no changes to our surplus from this time last year. Any questions on our fiscal 21 year-to-date numbers? Okay, a couple of other things I wanted to go through, give you guys an update on where we stand on fiscal 20. The audit will be starting on December 1st. It's yesterday, 2 weeks. No, 2 days, 2 weeks. It's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And King and King will be here for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 2 days at the town, 1 day at the school. We're not sure what their schedule is right now. I'll be having more conversations with them next week. So I'll be able to provide Bob with the information so he knows when they're coming up the hill to his direction. So where we stand at the moment with regards to the numbers for fiscal 20, we're looking at a surplus of over 250,000. The town side itself was, our expenditures were less than budget by $555,000. We had major savings in fringe benefits and also in the, as we know, the snow removal dollars and some of the other areas. On the revenue side, unfortunately, we were less. We were $269,000 less in revenue than we had budgeted for the year. So before audit and before audit adjustments, we're looking like we'll be bringing in a surplus. So next thing, just to mention to you guys, Aaron, you talked about correspondence. I thought about it afterwards. The Board of Education meeting had the presentation from our our health consultant and our CT chip consultant. I'm not sure whether any of you guys were able to join that meeting. It was extremely informative. I know the members of the Board of Ed appreciated it, but I did share with you guys the PowerPoint presentation that was discussed at the meeting. If anybody has any questions, feel free to let us know. They have offered to attend the Board of Finance meetings as well when we get to that stage, or whenever you guys wish to have them do so, just to give you an idea of the reasons why we're in CT CHIP and the benefits and the not so benefits of being in the program. So that was pretty much it. That's it. I think that's all I have. Just the next thing, which is further down the agenda, which is the budget transfers. Any questions? Okay.
Questions for the finance director? Orla, did you say did I hear correct? Let me know if I'm wrong. Did you say the unofficial budget surplus for FY '20 is 250,000?
Absolutely, yes,
Okay,
on the town side,
right, unofficial.
yes.
Questions for the finance director? Questions? Okay.
Okay.
Orla, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any thoughts on the Turtle Up Fund?
Actually, I could just talk on behalf. We haven't met, but we are making some adjustments. There was some damage to the building roof during the storms most recently, and we'll be spending some money to get those adjustments corrected in the next few weeks. Beyond that, we did withdraw our funds to enable us to move forward with the next part of our Windows project. So we withdrew an additional 250,000 per the budget of fiscal 21. That's sitting in our account, not earning as much income as it would have been if it was still in the investment fund, but it will be starting to get spent over the next few months. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Questions on the Turtle Up Fund, anybody?
A quick question, if I might. There's some storm damage you mentioned. Is there any chance that that's covered by insurance?
It is covered by insurance. We're actually going, the cost that the trust will incur is our portion of the deductible.
Thank you very much.
I don't remember what the specifics are on the deductible, but thank you for pointing that out, Steve. Yes, this is just a portion of the deductible that we have to pay for the costs of the repairs.
I think this is Rob Orla. I think it was quite small, something like 5,900
That's right.
of the $10,000 deductible. So
10,000.
we're talking about relatively, in the big picture of the project, a relatively small number.
That's for sure.
Good.
Thank you very much. Just did want to check on that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good to know. Good to know. Anything else on the Turtle Up Fund? All right, we'll move on to new business. Amy, if you're there, this one applies to you. This is appropriation request for boundary survey at Langer Pond Dam not to exceed $4,600.
Correct. Thank you for considering this tonight. The Langer Pond Dam has been in poor condition for quite a while. Currently, there is a developer that's, if you're familiar with the site, it's not a major hazard dam, but it is causing some erosion to the mill, the stone mill that's adjacent to it. It's causing erosion to the foundation from what Leonard Engineering, who has done an inspection of it in the past and did a study on it, has told me. So the boundary survey will let us know what exactly the town owns and what the town is responsible for. And will just be the start of eventually doing a design and a plan for the repair of the dam as a whole. Currently, Tira, our town planner, has submitted the intention to apply for a grant that could potentially cover the cost of the engineering work and the design work. But before Leonard can do anything else, they will need the boundary survey. So what I'm asking for tonight is that we fund this boundary survey, which I've asked J&D Engineering to do for us. It's $4,600. And I consider it just a small step in the right direction to beginning to get some of this infrastructure that's failing in the town on the right track to repair.
Amy, the Langer Pond Dam, that's the one up near the intersection of what, Riverside Drive and Wilsonville Road?
Correct. Correct. Where the blue mill, I call it a blue steel building mill, but there's also that stone building that's it's actually really beautiful, but the developers are potentially turning that into hopefully a cafe. So they're doing the work on it. And if the foundation is seeing some erosion because of the dam failure, then it's something that needs to be addressed, not only for them, but for the town and the town's liability.
So the structure you're talking about, if you're coming up Riverside Drive and you're heading towards Webster, I think is the first town you come to,
Dudley.
Dudley, and you take a right onto Wilsonville Road.
Yep.
It's the mill that's immediately on the right.
Yeah, you'll see it's a beautiful stone building.
That's what, because when you said beautiful stone building, I was thinking I probably know what you're talking about because I've thought the same thing over the years. It's a beautiful, historic, old, classic New England mill structure. It's not a massive one. You know, you think of like these massive old mills, kind of like the one on Riverside Drive, 929, but it's beautiful. It's like stone as opposed to brick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the roof had been collapsed. I haven't been there. I'm going to be there on Tuesday for another issue. But the developers were planning on securing it for the winter. So they wanted to collapse the roof inward and then get the building secure for the winter. I know that's where the last thing I had heard from them. So, but they are planning on developing the whole site. So we want to be good to them. We want to be good stewards of the dam that we acquired, I believe, in 2006. I think that was probably a poor choice of acquiring a dam because with it came a lot of liability. But now that it's ours, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that it is repaired properly.
Aaron, could I jump in for a minute?
Go ahead.
For two reasons. One, it's in my neighborhood. I live in Wilsonville. I drive by it quite often. They did actually take the roof structure off.
Okay.
The portion that's not stone is the portion that's wood. It was collapsing, not looking very pleasant from the street, from the curb appeal. So I think that if we have someone interested in developing the entire area, that beautiful stone building and then the blue building, the older mill behind it, I'd be very supportive of it, because the last thing I think we want to do is chase away an interested investor that would look to maybe make something bigger out of the footprint, right? I think that would be good for the town. These are the kind of things that we've talked about through several meetings and through certainly our budget meetings in terms of how we attract more business. And this is a classic one in front of us. What it leads to, Amy, beyond 4,600, we don't know. It could be a gigantic number, but let's start with the basics and do the evaluation and do the survey so we understand where the lines are and which party's responsible for what pieces of the project.
Right. And thank you, Rob, for stating that. I mean, I just keep saying, I feel so much that there's so many projects, but if we just keep taking little steps and if we have a bigger goal in mind and we have, set objectives as far as what we're going to accomplish and when we're going to accomplish it, and we just keep taking those little steps, we will get where we need to be. And speaking of that stone structure, at one point, they had a spillway that diverted the water underneath the structure. And I'm not saying that that's the direction that we would go, but being able to do this boundary survey and then eventually doing the engineering work that we need to do, we could find out if that's a viable option for them and whether that might be the best route. And that would, just imagine going to a restaurant and having the view of water coming underneath the building, and it could be really beautiful, especially for outdoor seating. So we don't know if that's a possibility, but at least this boundary survey will get us started to find out what's the best option for that dam and for the repair of the dam.
If I might, Amy, a question.
Yeah.
Did I think we talked previously about the possibility of this removal of this dam? Is that off the table now, or is that still a possibility? I live also near there, and I think it's a very pretty spot, but I don't know if repair is the best answer or not. I don't know. Either way, just want to make sure that if it is still an option, want to make sure it's considered as well.
The practicality of you, Steve, I always love. And yes, that is still an option. In fact, when I spoke to Chuck Lee today about the North Grosvenor Dam, it's very much what DEEP wants to do. They do want to remove dams. So it just comes down to a cost factor. The initial cost of remediating soils could be high, but in the long run, having to maintain a dam for the next
Forever.
10, 50, well, yeah, forever, might be worse. So those are all things that we will consider, and absolutely, I don't think that's entirely off the table. It's a dam that's not a high hazard, and it's not completely necessary. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Amy, while we were talking, I pulled up Google Maps so I could zoom in on it, and it looks like it's almost like a rectangular shaped dam or something. I mean, if you can't speak to that, that's fine because you're not looking at
No.
Google Maps yourself. But it looks like it goes up and then across the river, and then almost it may or may not go down the other side. I mean, is that the entirety of that whole chunk? Is that what we own? That whole thing, or
Yes.
just
I believe so. And again, the boundary survey will tell us exactly
what we? Yeah. Okay.
what we own.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, do you need a motion? Do you need a motion, Aaron? I mean, I would, if you'd like one, I'd make the motion that we approve the spending of up to $4,600. Is it 4,600?
Yep. Not to exceed 4,600.
$4,600 for the survey relating to the Langer Pond Dam.
And source of
And
funds.
they take it from the general fund.
Can we add contingency to that motion?
You want it from contingency? Is that a better choice?
I've
Okay.
checked, we have enough to cover it.
Okay.
All right, so Steve has made a motion to appropriate not more than $4,600 from contingency for the purpose of boundary survey at Langer Pond Dam. Does that sound fair, Steve?
That sounds absolutely right. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. So that's the motion. Anyone second?
Rob Mann.
I think Rob Mann got it first. Rob Mann's got the second. Any further discussion on this motion? Any further discussion? All right, well, we're voting to spend money, so we always go around the table. Steve
Yes.
and Jim,
Yes.
Rob Mann,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Rob Wurge.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. This one carries 6-0.
Thank you, everyone.
Pleasure.
Thank
So
you.
we'll go on to new business, Part B, FY20 year-end town budget transfers. Orla, I know this is your expertise. Oh, you are muted, I think, Orla.
Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to share the screen so we can see what we're looking at here. You guys should have it up on the screen now. Do you see it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Come on.
Here it comes.
Okay. You should see it now.
Yep.
Okay, so I apologies for only sharing this today. I forgot to share it yesterday. Haven't been feeling well. I got a cold, so
As long as it's not COVID-19.
well, fingers crossed. I'm still waiting for test results, but fingers crossed. I wasn't taking any chances, so I've been staying away from the town hall for the last 2 days. So, yeah, this is where we are with budget transfers. So I'll just go down one by one. Anybody has any questions, just bring it to my attention. The first 3 items relate to additional legal services required. We had excessive amount of town unbudgeted expenses on the town side, on the zoning side, and on the wetland side. The wetland side was to do with the Star Road and that appeal. The zoning was specific things that were brought up during the summer of latter part of calendar 2019, beginning of 2020. That's it on legal. So on the town hall, we moved some money around. For the last few years, we've been budgeting to continue to pay the funds for cleaning the town hall out of the cleaning services line. But our building maintainer has been carrying out that role on a temporary basis. So we've continuously hired him on a piecemeal basis to carry out the services of cleaning the town hall. I'm not sure whether we'll continue to do that, but it results in us having to move funds around, taking money out of cleaning services and putting it into evening custodian. We had additional postage, and then on the building repairs and maintenance line, we do have additional dollars amount, but Amy has submitted requests for reimbursement for some of these line items. We were looking to get swipe systems at the town hall, and we have an open purchase order ready to place that order as of the end of June. For that, she's just waiting for approval from USDA to cover 55% of the cost of that project. So when that money comes in, it'll go back into the fund balance to cover this additional cost in this line item. On the office supply line, so most of the supplies that we ordered COVID related, we put into this line item. So we have submitted requests for funds from both FEMA and from the state. I did get a request to confirm that my dollars are good with FEMA today. So I'll be taking a look at that tomorrow, and we are expecting to receive about 10,000 back from the state. And this is a combination of supplies and services that we carried out. And I'll certainly, Amy and I can give you guys an update at next month's meeting with regards to where we stand on COVID reimbursement funds. We'll have a better idea this time next week or next month. Fire marshal, additional expenses that were incurred in that line item. On the canine control, as you know, we're in the process of moving over and going back to in-house services. We have committed to a certain amount of dollars. I've accrued a certain amount of dollars to cover the cost for NECOG through the end of fiscal 20. And that just brought us over by $22. Transfer station, we are seeing tipping fees. The operator costs. We did have a change of staff during that time, and we did have to pay out some vacation time. So that was resulted in an over budget line item for one of the transfer station operators. On the tipping fees line, we did see a larger than typical amount of drop-offs for our bulky waste during the spring of 2020, and also our rates changed with some of the suppliers. We've moved to a different vendor for that service. On celebrations, it was an oversight on my part. Usually we budget $23.65. I budgeted $500 less by mistake, so we need to cover that up. ZBA advertising, some additional dollars required there. So that's $55,332 that we're looking to take out of, mostly out of contingency, as you see down below, and the rest of the dollars will come out of, it'll be allocated from the cleaning services in Town Hall building, and also take 8180 out of the fringe benefit line. Any questions with regards to the budget transfers?
Hey, Arlen, I'm thinking about the transfer station tipping fee increase. You mentioned bulky waste was a big driver there.
Yes.
Do you suppose that had anything to do with COVID-19, people staying home, spending money on home improvement? I know that like the Home Depots of this world have been going just big sales because everybody's been spending money on their homes. Do you suppose that has anything to do with that?
Absolutely. Yes, it most definitely did. So we'll have to take a look at it when we start budgeting for fiscal 22, because we may be over in 21 as well. Looks like Steve has a question, Aaron.
Oh, sorry, I turned off my, I can't see everybody else. So go ahead, Steve.
Just on the tipping fees, did we see a corresponding increase in fees that we charge for bulky items?
No, we have not. I don't believe we've increased any of the prices for bulky items.
Not a per unit price, but just in general, I assume more people are dropping off bulky things. Do we see?
I don't know, but I can certainly check into it and let you know.
Can you, just trying to understand the building repairs and maintenance line.
Sure.
Maybe I misunderstood. Is this something that we haven't done yet and haven't let a contract yet to do anything? And if so, does that mean it's a 2020 item or a 2021 item?
So we accrued the dollars in fiscal 20. We were hoping we would have the order in at this stage, but we're waiting for confirmation from the USDA that they're going to cover the cost of it before we place the order. If during the process we do not get turned down, but we're pretty sure we will. If we were turned down, then I would reverse that accrual.
I'm just curious as to why it's and it's just my little bit of accounting I know would say that if it's something you haven't started or haven't done, or really are in the very beginning stages, I haven't spent any money, why you would call it a 2020 item when sounds like it's something happening this year.
So when we started this process, it was in fiscal 20.
Yeah.
We do have a purchase order with a specific vendor assigned to it.
Okay.
Amy did go through the trouble of obtaining 3 different prices from 3 different vendors
Oh,
as
I understand.
required by the
Okay.
USDA.
Sure.
And we have selected a vendor that we're planning to choose to
Yeah.
use for this project. But you know, fiscally responsible required us to hold off and wait and see. At this stage, we thought we would have been putting the order in by the end of June. But the USDA is behind in their processing of their grant applications. So I did reach out to USDA today, and they are anticipating a reply pretty soon.
I appreciate that we expected to do it in 2020, but since we didn't, it seems like a 2021 item. But again, I'll defer to some expertise in this particular area. I'm not a government accountant at all, or know much about it.
You know, it
Big-
is, we could certainly close out the purchase order, but we've been hanging on week by week, hoping that we will be in a position where we can place the order. We've got the pricing. The vendor will still approve the pricing for us
Sure. All right.
based on what we carried out before the end of June.
Maybe a somewhat related question on the vacation pay that was, I guess, at the transfer station operator line. We don't accrue, I take it we don't accrue for unused vacation then as we go? We wait till somebody, leaves employment or something and then we recognize it? Is that what we do?
So union employees are eligible to be paid out on their vacation time as well as their sick time, depending on certain different criteria as to when the employee was hired would determine what percentage of their sick time that they're going to get paid out on. We have a severance line in our fringe benefits, which covers the sick time, because an individual can accrue a phenomenal amount of hours of sick time over the period of their time, and they don't lose their sick time. Typically, people don't have an enormous amount of vacation time accrued at the end of the year. We encourage the employees to take the vacation time as much as we can. We've mainstreamed those processes over the last few years. So if the goal is to ensure that employees take their vacation time by the time their anniversary date comes around, I believe the timing of this particular employee would have had received their annual bank of vacation time not that long before this individual retired. So therefore, we were required to pay out the vacation time. In my years that I've seen people retire and leave, it's quite unusual that people have a lot of vacation time, and that we are required to pay it out at time of termination. But usually it's sick time that we do end up having to pay out.
I guess whether it's vacation time or sick time or whatever, I take it we don't accrue it as we go. We wait till the person departs and then we recognize it. Is that what I'm hearing?
So the sick time, what we've started to do in the last few years is the dollars that we have been putting into the severance line in the fringe benefits, we've been moving that into the transfer fund to be used at a later date for that source.
Very good. That's great.
Okay, so we do have a bank in there. There was an anticipation of at least 2 or 3 people that were likely to be retiring over the last 18 months. So I think it's 2 fiscal years ago, we started putting some money in to cover the cost of those retirements.
Well, I believe we really should accrue for it on an as-we-go basis with all our employees, whatever they're due. If we don't actually spend it because they've used the time for sick or vacation, it should be banked, if you call it, or put in a transfer account, or I call it reserved for in the year in which it's earned, in order to properly recognize the expenses of that employee during that year.
No, I agree. And that's why I started transferring that money into the transfer fund to cover the cost of the sick time. As I say, it's unusual to see this. Some organizations and some municipalities and local government do put an assigned fund balance towards the likes of vacation and sick.
Of course.
At the time of
Proper
termination.
accounting, quite frankly.
What was that?
Is wrong.
I'm sorry, what was that,
I hate to
Steve?
say it absolutely, but it's really wrong not to recognize those costs as you go. So you're doing the right thing by establishing those funds and funding them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worthwhile, you know, we do, as part of the audit year end, the auditors report in the audit report what is considered to be compensated absences. And that's basically a value of the amount of time that people have on the books at the end of the year. I've started to take a look at that on a quarterly basis to see if there's really much changes. I think we're okay right now. You know, as I say, the sick time is really the one that we usually end up paying so much out on. And I think we're pretty secure in what we have in there for the moment.
Thank you.
If I could jump in, Aaron, for a moment.
Good.
Orla, it sounded like you had funds for severance that you reapplied to sick. I'm with Steve. I was going to ask some of the same questions about why, that's a liability to the town. It shouldn't be, I don't think it should be something that's moved from, a severance which was over accrued and you didn't need, maybe a year when you need severance and you have sick pay for retirees. All of those liabilities, as they're accumulated through the years, should be sitting on the balance sheet so that we don't have surprises that come up, when people do retire. And if they use that vacation time, in the case of vacation or sick days, then you move it over from the balance sheet at that point in time.
So you're going in and out.
To me, I don't know what the auditors would say, but mixing and matching and moving it doesn't feel like a best practice.
So actually, so as part of the report that we produce to the auditors, we value it at the end of each fiscal year. So I will bring it up with our auditors with regards to if we want to specifically assign it. I think it's GASB 54, or one of the GASBs that requires us to assign it specifically each of the individual parts of the fund balance that we're assigning to projects. I will bring it up that we should probably put it on the internal books as opposed to just doing it for GAAP for the audit report. So, but thank you both of you for mentioning that, and I will bring it up with them.
And it's not a giant number in the big scheme of things, but it could be much bigger.
This is Steve. Rob, you're absolutely right, but it can be a very big number. I mean, it can be maybe not 100,000. For an individual, it can be approaching those kinds of numbers. Again, and it really doesn't reflect the cost, of the year you're in if you don't, reserve or transfer fund or whatever the right word is here. What you've obligated yourself to pay. So I think we're in agreement on this. Yeah.
The other question I have was around the tipping fees. We increased, I know, the rates for the permits for the transfer station.
We did, yes.
Those tipping fees, because I guess, maybe wrongfully, but in my mind, I always viewed the pay for bulk waste was to cover the cost of bulk waste, not to cover some of the cost. And I would think people are relatively wired to say, okay, if I'm bringing in bulk waste, I have to pay for that. If we haven't, I would recommend maybe looking at those fees, and if it's a couple dollars for visits, at least it could eliminate this type of a roll up. 25,000, that was for last year, and we were just saying this year could be the same or more. I don't know if that's something we can act on sooner rather than later, as more and more people are doing these projects, but that could be 50,000 next year based on the high level of activity.
So you're referring to the cost per bulky waste, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, should we?
Wasn't that the discussion a moment ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, question being, should we be charging more? I'm definitely like mind on that. Should we be charging more?
If I might, I believe Amy in one of our prior meetings a little bit earlier mentioned that they did address the transfer station fees, and I honestly don't remember whether the bulky waste was addressed at that time or not. And if she's still on, maybe she
I don't
could
remember either.
some feedback on that.
Are you still on, Amy?
I am still on. I don't know if the charge was brought up. We only brought up the permit fee that I'm remembering, but I can certainly have a conversation with Rich to see his thoughts on it.
Rob Mann, Board of Finance. I'm just gonna jump
Rob.
in. I know some things that are probably considered bulky waste that have to be free. I know mattresses are one of those things. There's a number of things that have to be free by state statute. But I really would personally, I'd like to see the bulky waste. People will bring in shingles or things from remodeling their houses. I would think we'd want it to break even. We already know that we have to, as taxpayers, we pay money to keep the transfer station open for the regular disposal of trash. But I'd hate to think that the extra over and above, which I consider bulky waste, that we're not breaking even with that. It would be nice if we at least broke even with it, because I know that as time goes on, it's more difficult to dispose of a lot of things at the incinerators or Casella or wherever they get hauled. I know some of the things that we used to get money for years ago. I mean, this is changing the subject a little, such as glass or cardboard. Now we have to actually pay to get rid of it. It's not, it's not giving us any income. It's an expense to get rid of. So I think there's a lot for maybe there's a committee that does the transfer station or whatnot. I think there definitely needs to be some discussion on how much weight the transfer station, not weight as far as keeping it open. I'm in support of keeping it open, but as far as costs and things should be distinguished. That's all. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Is bulky waste when you pull into the dump and you have to go up on the scale with your vehicle and weigh what's in there? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm with Rob Wurge. He said, people expect to have to pay an extra separate fee for bulky waste. So, and I agree. So I can't imagine that it would be a surprise to anyone if we were to assess them and charge them appropriately, especially if you're coming in with a truck full of shingles. I would think that they would expect to have to pay for that. And if they don't, then I'm really sorry, but we can't be having deficits of $25,000 because we're subsidizing the bulky waste. If that single function is what's putting the hole in the boat, then we got to plug that hole.
Can I just interject? This is Amy St. Ange.
Sure.
If I could interject that COVID hit just at the end of the last fiscal year. And that's when Rich started seeing a lot of issues as far as the payment for certain recyclable items stopped at that point, because basically the country stopped. So that's something to just keep in the back of your mind as well. Rich had been doing a great job at making sure that people were being charged adequately for the waste, because in the past, certain people were let go and they weren't really enforcing the bulky waste rule. This is what I know from conversation after conversation in the past with him. But COVID really did throw things off, and they started having to pay to have things removed. So that really threw a wrench into things. That's all I wanted to share. And I just hope things begin to turn around for them. In fact, Aaron, your dad Frank brought in to me an article. I'm not sure which newspaper it was from, but that recyclables, they're starting back on the uptick and the need for them are increasing again. So hopefully that means that we won't be paying to have things taken away, and hopefully we start recouping some money again.
Right.
Yeah, just Rob Mann again. Yeah, just a little tidbit is that I think that as far as bulky waste itself goes, we should be actually paying more for a convenience. I mean, it's really convenient to be able to do something and bring it in there. And even if I bring something in and I have to pay an extra $70, it's more convenient than calling Pratt or calling another company and having them bring a dumpster to my house. And then they charge you, $75 to $100 just to drop it off. And then you get X amount of weight to put in. It's really convenient to get rid of things slowly as you go at our local transfer station. But I think we should pay accordingly. That's all.
Rob Wirch again. Can we be more specific in the future? Because it's a little concerning, Amy. We don't know exactly what we're looking at. We see the number of 25,000. Is it due to not recovering on the bulky waste line by line by line from people bringing it in? Or is it due to not getting the anticipated or the budgeted value of the recyclable? Those are two different things. And if we don't know which one it is, then we can't have a very meaningful discussion over it.
So one of the things to point out is that when we say tipping fees line in that expenditure line, it includes tipping of all waste, not just bulky waste. We're a transfer station, so we've got to bring our bags of garbage somewhere.
Okay.
So it's the trucks going to these specific locations, and it includes both the bags that are dumped from people's trash, as well as the bulky waste that's dumped from people's trucks.
So same comment, Orla, it's half of what we're talking about in the 55. We should know what's the driver. Again, it's hard to make change if we don't fully understand the driver.
Agreed. Agreed.
Sitting here now, I don't think we know exactly what the driver is. Somebody knows.
No, I wouldn't. Without doing some thorough analysis, no, I don't.
And so that was going to be sort of my thought was if this $25,000, offset, miss, over budget, whatever you want to call it, if it's still an open question, then perhaps we can figure out an answer to the question in time for the next meeting, so that way we'll have a better understanding of what our course of action should be going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This
So
is,
by all means, go ahead. What's that?
I was going to say, is it time for a motion or?
Well, I was going to say, Orla, did you hit the bottom side of this document yet? I think we may have stopped you and had this conversation. I think you may have, did you get to the line items to be decreased yet? Nope, I think you're muted.
I believe she did go through them all.
Did you?
So do you guys have it up on the screen?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
Did you go through the ones that line items to be decreased as well?
I think I did.
Okay, good,
Which is
I did.
moving the cleaning services dollars,
great.
taking the balance of our contingency, and taking 8180 out of fringe.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if you had covered that already or not, so my mistake.
That's okay.
So someone said that they were talking about making a motion?
Yeah, is it, are we at that time? That was my question.
I have one other question, Steve, before.
Oh,
we do
sorry.
that.
I didn't mean to-
We just got a little clarification on the cleaning services being increased and the cleaning services being decreased, both with hiring a custodian. It's a little unclear to me.
So I didn't hear everything that you said, Rob, but I think you have a question with regards to the cleaning services. So
Yeah.
what we
The
budgeted,
question was that the two items are opposing, one's increasing and one's decreasing, and they have the same descriptor.
so one is decreasing in that we're moving the, whatever is left in the cleaning services line, we're moving it in to cover the overage in the evening custodial line. Because as I say, we haven't hired a professional cleaning service. Instead, we are using the building maintainer who provides that service to us. Does that answer your question?
Don't think so.
Could you repeat it again?
Up above on the items to be increased, we have $7,000 for evening custodian on
Yes.
the town hall. And there's a comment on the right that says custodian hired instead.
Okay, so custodian, I'm referring to the individual who is hired on a temporary basis until it's determined as to whether we're going to stick with a cleaning service or whether we're going to stick with this individual doing our cleaning for us at the building.
Does it cost us more or less if we hire a custodian versus?
It's
using
pretty
two?
much the same amount. It's pretty much the same amount.
Including fringes and so forth, Orla?
Yeah, well, so this particular employee is part-time. So the only additional fringes are workers' comp and taxes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Orla.
Okay.
Any other questions before we make a motion? So Orla, how should this motion go? What language do you need to make this correct?
approve the list of budget transfers for fiscal year 20 as presented by the finance director on November 19th, Board of Finance meeting.
So I'll make that in the form of a motion.
This is Steve, and I'm not making a second, but if I just could ask a clarifying question. I wondered if we could make that motion without the line on the building repairs, because that looks like a 2021 expense.
So then just for technical purposes, I'll withdraw my motion. So I'm withdrawing the motion. So now, so go ahead. We can discuss Steve's thought about.
Well, Aaron, my thought is that that particular line, $3,449, is a 2021 expense and not a 2020 expense, even though the thoughts were initiated in last year. And therefore, it really is a cost that should be seen in our current year's operating budget. And therefore, it's inappropriate for it to be a 2020 transfer. It's really, again, it's a current year expense. So I would suggest that instead of the transfer of 55,332, the ins and outs as shown, that it be 55,332 less, and I'm not doing the math in my head here, 3449, which is the one item that I think belongs in 2021. And similarly on the lines that are being decreased, I guess you would change the contingency by the same amount.
Steve, it's Rob Ward. My question maybe to Orla would be, what triggers the year that it goes in? Is it the you're speaking of, which is the actual cash disbursement, or is it the commitment, or is it when the commitment is made?
It's when the commitment is made.
And if the commitment was
This
made,
commitment was made
it
in
was let last year, then the liability sits in last year.
Oh, I would agree, but I don't think a commitment's been made. That's kind of my understanding. But if we feel it has been, fine, but
Yeah, I heard PO earlier. That a PO was
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've opened a purchase order with the specific vendor that was chosen as a result of the 3 different pricing that we received. So as I say, the only thing that's holding off, we didn't want to incur the expense if we're not going to get 55% back first. And that's that was the only reason we haven't placed the order. So in reality, I mean, to me, we've already made the commitment. So I'd like to keep it as an open purchase order for fiscal 20.
Sorry, Orla, you just said you haven't placed the order. But before you
No, we have not placed the order yet.
There's no purchase order that's been let.
So we've opened the purchase order, but we have not placed the order. So I've committed to a purchase order number based on the pricing and the quotation that we received and the vendor that we chose.
But the vendor did not receive the purchase order.
Nope, no, we have not placed the order.
I don't know, Steve, the technicality of what year it falls in. Orla opened a PO, but the vendor didn't receive a PO.
The PO wasn't sent out or anything. That's, again, it's not a big amount or anything. It's not the end of the world one way or the other, but it doesn't, my accounting test would say it's not a 2020 expense, it's a 2021 expense, but again, we're kind of in the weeds here. I don't want to make a big issue out of a relatively small amount. It just doesn't seem appropriate to be in 2020, but I can live either way.
If you guys decide not to include that, then we'll just cancel out the PO tomorrow and we'll reopen the purchase order in fiscal 21.
If we just run this all through now and it turns out that we should have been, with the exception of 3449, can we come back and fix it?
You'd have to meet again. I'll be presenting, when the auditors come in, I'll be presenting these budget transfers to them.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just saying, is it possible to fix it if it turns out that it should have been in FY21? If we run this through tonight and it turns out it should have been in 21, can we just fix it at a later date? Because we don't have the.
Absolutely, yes. We can just approve it as is, and then if we determine, I'm happy to bring it up with the auditors. If they think that we should just cancel out the PO for fiscal 20, I'll happily do that. And it's only a budget transfer. This isn't a commitment of funds. This is just a budget transfer that we're talking about.
So then, Orly, so if I follow you, you're okay with doing this less the 3449, bringing up the 3449 to the auditors, and then if they say, yeah, it's FY20, just bringing back 3449 by itself and then just running it through separately.
Yes.
You're cool with that?
Oh, that's a great solution, Aaron.
If you're okay with it, I just want to do whatever works for you, Orla. And if you're good with that, then we can just do that.
Okay. So I'll reverse the dollar amount here and give you the revised contingency amount. Okay, so the total would be overall, hang on. Calculator's not working. So the revised total would be 51883. And then the line items to reduce would be 3252, which is as stated, the 8180, which would be fringe, and then the contingency line would be 40451.
So that means the big number is 51883.
Yes.
And so I don't remember your exact wording on the motion. If you can refresh my memory.
Sure. Let me think of what I said.
Although maybe Dottie wrote it down. I don't know if she did or not.
Did she?
Dottie? You there?
A motion to approve the budget transfer list for fiscal year 20 as presented.
In the amount of 51,883.
Oh, as presented, less 3449 for town hall building. Oh, let's get back that. As presented with a reduction from 55,332 to 51,883.
Got it. So motion to approve recommended budget transfers in the amount of $51,883 as presented by the finance director to the Board of Finance on November 19th, 2020.
That's fine.
Yes, Aaron, that's what I have too.
Great. So thank you, Dottie. So yeah, so please, Dottie, just make sure that the number is 51883. That's the big number. That's obviously all the little numbers inside are subject to the move around, but the big number is the one that the Board of Finance is responsible for on this one. So I make that in the form of a motion. Does anyone second?
This is Steve. I'll second that.
Steve has the second. Any additional discussion on this? Any additional discussion? All right, this is voting on movement of money, so we'll go around the table. Steve, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Rob Mann?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes,
Rob Wurge?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So this carries 6-0. Old business, safety grant project update. Is there anything to report on that safety grant project? Do we know of?
Who requested to put it back on the agenda again?
Well, so Rob Mann had requested it and then I completely spaced out. It was on the agenda 2 months ago and I moved right past it. So now I've finally just admitted I need reading glasses. So that's why you see me putting them on and taking them off. I just zipped right over it. The meeting was over and I felt terrible. So I put it back on the agenda so that just in case there's any update or discussion about where we're at with the safety grant project, at least we can have a sense of how we're doing there.
Orla, you're muted.
Sorry. I'll reach out to Bill Birch and get an idea for next month.
Yeah.
I haven't had a lot of discussion with him lately. I know the next part of the project, I think, is the gates. At least I think so. Bob, would I be right in saying that?
Bob, I think you're muted.
No, well, I didn't say anything yet either. Could you ask that question one more time, Ola? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So,
Getting bills here at the same time.
so the security project, I think the next part of it is the gates, right?
Yeah, Bill had given an update during the last Board of Ed meeting, but I guess if you were looking for something specific, the best time to ask him, we could ask him to come to just pop in for the next meeting. He had some surgery done and he's been in and out, so maybe he's back, but I think if he had known that this was on there, he would have shown up for the meeting.
Okay.
So I don't have an update on that.
Good. Okay.
And this is Amy St. Ange. The only update I can give is that Melinda, Bill, Rich Benoit, and I met at one of the locations and discussed the gate and how it was going to be constructed and what we would need to add. There was some fencing that was going to be needed to be added. So things are still progressing. There was just some structural details that needed to be worked out.
Sounds good. Should we put this on the agenda for next month and have Bill Birch stop by? Okay. Works for me. All right. So any Board of Finance member comments? Any Board of Finance member comments at this time?
Aaron, Rob Wurge, can we
Go
look to reopen a short discussion around meeting in person?
Sure.
Continuing to meet virtually. We talked about it 2 meetings ago. I'm personally ready to meet in person, but I know there's a lot of differing views and we all have to be comfortable with it.
There were actually, it's ironic you bring that up because when people were just logging in, we were talking about how we're still in a virtual format. And I said, geez, considering that there's an uptick going around even in the New England states, I said, geez, if we had gone back to in person, I wonder if we would have been back to virtual by this meeting or the December meeting or what? Because I know that the DCU Center is now being converted back into a field hospital as it was last spring, and it's their target date is to have it come online December 1st. I can't speak on behalf of the respective state health experts, but I can only assume that means that they're looking 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks down the road, and they see something coming that maybe we're not seeing right now, because why else would they go to all the trouble of turning the DCU Center back into a field hospital? So I wonder if a month from now, right now they're saying, please don't have Thanksgiving with anybody except somebody who lives within your 4 walls and under your own roof. I can only imagine what they're going to be saying a month from now when we're staring down Christmas. I don't know. Go ahead, Rhonda.
I think last time we spoke about it too, we did mention something about a hybrid type of meeting where we could meet in person or remotely. And Amy just mentioned that she did, she's going to do that at her next meeting. So I didn't know, Amy, is that something that's available that we could do at the school as well, or what?
I hesitate to open up the school. We're going to do it for the town meeting, but I hesitate to open up the school because they are utilizing the auditorium for some classroom space. So in the essence of protecting the school, Melinda's very protective over it. What we are currently looking at is connecting to the internet provider that the school uses, which is the Connecticut Education Network. I was in a meeting with them today. That is my goal. If we can get better connectivity at the town hall, then we'll be able to do the live hybrid meetings where we actually do live streaming with YouTube. We do the Zoom, and we can have live in person at the same time, because we do have the equipment for it. We just don't have the connectivity currently with our charter business provider. But if we connect it to the Connecticut Education Network, that would give us the connectivity that we need to do the live streaming and to do the virtual hybrid meeting that we're currently doing at the school.
Would that be something that we would do at the library or we would do it at the school? I mean, at
Currently,
the
Allison
town hall?
Allison we have the capability at the town hall because we're close to the school and we already utilize some of the, I don't know all the technical terms, so forgive me.
That's fine.
But we currently have some of the wiring in place. It would be a major expense for the library to connect to the SEND network.
Okay.
But at the town hall, we do have that ability. So we're going to take advantage of that, hopefully within the next month or two. And that will open us up to do hybrid meetings at the town hall. And that way we can keep the school protected because we want to keep the kids in school.
I don't care where we
don't
have
wanna
it. I just thought,
We don't
you
want to
know,
compromise the environment. But it's fully my intention to get this working at the town hall soon.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So I mean, as a thought, do we just give it a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, just to see where this is going? I mean, we can always, when we make plans for December's meeting, we can always say physical location in the Louis P. Fosher Community Center with live stream available, or we can say, on Zoom once again, depending on what's going on out there, we can always make that call.
I'm good with that, Aaron. And I think that, you are right. Things are changing now that everybody's going indoors. So maybe the prudent thing to do is give it another month and see where we're at, see where we're at in December. And
Like I
I
said,
just personally would prefer to get together. I just think it's a little bit better meeting, but that's not the reason to do it, right? We need to do it because it's safe to do it. So if everyone else is good with it, let's just wait another month. I think it's worth a 5-minute discussion at the end of each meeting and we can talk about it in December. If everybody else is good with that.
that's a really good point.
This is Amy St. Ange again. If I can say one thing, it would be my goal that by budget season, if we're still haunted by COVID, that we can do hybrid meetings by budget season. That would be my ultimate goal.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, Rob, good point. We can bring this up at the end of each meeting and then we'll keep it in mind for the next one. And like I said, 3 weeks from now, we could be okay. The curve could start to come down. If it's not, and this is still becoming a serious issue, then we can always go back into Zoom space again. But we can make that call in 3 weeks when we start making plans for the next meeting. Any other Board of Finance member comments at this time? Go ahead, Rhonda.
I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
That's all I have.
Same to you.
Happy
Same to you.
and
Gotta
safe-
leave on a happy note, right?
Absolutely.
Happy and safe Thanksgiving.
That's right.
For everybody.
If there's no other Board of Finance member comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
So I entertained it. So Rhonda, you making the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Great. Somebody
And
want
I'll second it.
to got the second. All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? This one carries 6-0. It's now 8:30 p.m. Thank you so much, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
And I-
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Be safe.